Hello, all. It's GS Luke bringing you my preview for this year's Zurich Classic down in Louisiana near New Orleans. And this year, it's a team event as it was back in 2019, which brings a lot of fun, a lot of excitement, and it's something that golf fans aren't really used to seeing. You know, aside from President's Cup, Ryder Cup, those kind of team events, and I'm really looking forward to it. So, again, it's the first time we're going to be having DFS for this team event. In the past, Draftkings wasn't able to put up events for it and whatnot, so it's going to be new for DFS players, for a lot of fans as well. So I'm really looking forward to it. So to give you some of the details of this event, there's going to be 80 teams of 2 players. A lot of them are friends, a lot of them are from the same country, and some of them seemingly don't even know each other. So there's a good combination there. Some skill sets that are very interesting that are paired together, some that are very similar, some that are very different. So we'll go through some of the field a little bit later, some of the teams that I really like and whatnot, and maybe some of the teams that I don't like so much in another video tomorrow. So again, you're only gonna be able to pick one golfer from each of these teams. That's how it's set up on DraftKings. If you try to select 2, it's not going to let you submit that lineup, and the price for both the golfers is going to be the same. So John Rahm and Ryan Palmer are paired together. They'll be the same price. There will be both of them on the screen for when you're selecting lineups, but you can only put one of them into your lineup. Just remember that. And just to give you the formats of how this event is going to work, so 2 of the rounds are going to be best ball. That's going to be rounds 1 and round 3. And what they mean by best ball is all 4 players will play their ball for each hole, and whoever scores the best for each team, that's the score that will be counted for each hole. So it's very easy to go very low. You want guys that are capable of making birdies. And when a guy makes a really high score, like a quadruple bogey, a double, or anything like that, typically it's nullified by the other guy making at least a par. So you're looking for guys that make a lot of birdies. We'll get into the key stats here in a second, but you're looking for guys that can put up a lot of fireworks, because typically the winning score delves well into the minus 20s. So the last 2 rounds are going to be alternate shot. What that entails is that one of the 2 players will hit their first shot off the tee, second will hit their approach shot, so on and so forth. This is where a lot of the strategy comes into play, where you have teams with complementary skill sets, people that have very similar skill sets. There's an argument to be made for both and whether each side's advantageous. But either way, that's where that strategy comes in. And in my opinion, you want to have a complementary skill set. One where if something's going hot for one golfer, the other golfer is making up for it on the other shots and is doing well in that other area. So we'll get into that here in a second. An example that would be a good driver with somebody that's a good driver and putter matched up with someone that's a good iron player and chipper. You're doing one shot, then the other. You can really get on a roll. And with alternate shots, sometimes it can be rough, but if you're going to win this tournament, you have to go super low. So look forward to that. And the last note I'll make is the top 35 teams in ties are going to make it to the weekend. So that's 43.75% of the players. That's slightly more than the average tour of 65 of about 156. And so it's about 5 or 6 under the cut, but more people than not are going to make it this week. Expect about 52% to make the cut, including the ties. And with that being said, let's get into the course. The course for this week's event is going to be TPC Louisiana, which is in Avondale, Louisiana, just a little bit out of New Orleans, like I said before. This is a par 72, 7,425 yards, and again, designed by Pete Dye. Pretty much all the golf tournaments you see for the next couple weeks are going to be designed by Pete Dye. It's unofficially Pete Dye season, as they say, SZN. But either way, we got Bermuda grass going this week, as you'll see a lot this month as well, which means we're going to get a very complex course with a lot of runoffs, a lot of hazards as well, and a lot of volatility. That's kind of what Pete Dye puts into his golf courses, which also brings a lot of excitement. So we can look forward to that as golf fans. But getting into the key stats, we're going to have to use our intuition a bit here, as the game has been changed. It's no longer stroke play. We have alternate shot in play. We have best ball. So in my opinion, this is going to be intuition over correlation this week. So for number 1, we're coming in with birdie or better percentage. I think this is obvious. I think everyone should be playing it this way this week. Guys that make the most birdies are going to have the most success this week. In your best ball day, you're looking to shoot around 60, 63 at the highest, so you can get well under par and set yourself up for the alternate shot days. And on the alternate shot days, you're looking to shoot 3 or 4 under par at the very least. You can't slack off that day. Everyone's going to shoot low under par on their best ball days, and you're really going to have to separate yourself on those alternate shots. So guys that can make birdies, put themselves low, are going to be at a premium this week. Again, it helps with the volatility as well. You want to embrace that high side of volatility, and you'll see with my team targets a little bit later, I am embracing that volatility this week. And par is really not going to be a good score this week. That's something I want to stress. So guys that par the course to death, don't make many bogeys and whatnot, and that's how they make their heyday, you want to avoid those golfers this week. Par is not what you're looking for. You're looking for people that can drain the rock. As we get to key stat number 2 here is shots gained putting. Again, people that can roll the rock, people that can make a lot of putts are going to be at a premium this week. The more putts you can make, the lower you can go. And in an event like this, we many times see the winner being somebody that's a putting specialist. Kevin Na, Billy Horschel's won this many a times, and it's guys that can really roll the rock. And it's not surprising at an event where you have to go this low that you're looking for a score. My number 3 key stat this week is going to be shots gained approach. It's always important. It's the number 1 stat when it comes to golf, when you're doing predictive analysis. And in my opinion, when it comes to an event like this, we can't ignore it. There's people coming into play with very hot iron play, people that are at form that's better than their baseline, and we need to consider that this week. I wanted to include it here. It's pretty obvious, but it'll be our number 3 stat this week. My first team target for this week and my spend-up option is going to be Colin Morikawa and Matthew Wolff, coming in at $11,300 on DraftKings. What I really love about this group is that they come in number 1 in the field in terms of birdie or better percentage with 4.33 per round, which is outstanding. Again, in a best ball scenario, you're going to see a lot more birdies than that, which I love to see. I also love that they come in number 1 in the field in terms of shots gained approach, which, again, it's one of our key stats. It's something that we're looking for. And not only is Colin Morikawa the number 1 shots gained approach player on all of the tour, Matthew Wolff is an above average player as well. So love to see that. While neither golfer is an excellent putter in terms of shots gained, they obviously put themselves in a lot of opportunities to succeed, given their shots gained number, given their birdies per round. So I'm not necessarily worried about that with these two at least. They're a top 10 team off the tee as well, which is great. And you see shots gained tee to green, they're number 1 as well. So love to see all of that. Both these players' games mesh together as well. So Matthew Wolff's a longer player off the tee. Colin Morikawa is more of an iron specialist. So when Wolff is able to push the ball well down the fairway, Morikawa's going to have wedges into these greens. And, he expects to hit them within 5-7 feet every single time. So I expect them to score very well on those holes. And on the other holes, I expect Colin Morikawa to take a lot of the stress out of the hole by hitting a lot of fairways. That's something that Wolff struggles with from time to time. And Matthew Wolff with his irons, that's always been an excellent strength of his. So I expect them to mesh well this week. And I don't expect them to be as popular as maybe some of the other groups like Jon Rahm, and Ryan Palmer, Xander, and Cantlay. They're going to be the chalk this week. They're great groups. I can't really say anything bad about them. But I think with the ownership discount and the statistical fit this week, I absolutely love this group. I can't say anything bad about them, including the ownership. The big question mark might be Matthew Wolff. He's had a few bad tournaments of late. But to be honest with you, he's been undergoing swing changes, and he had a hurt wrist about a month ago. So 2 or 3 of those performances I'm willing to throw out. And the 1 or 2 of recent, the only glaring issue has been the off the tee game. He's put himself in really bad positions. And again, I attribute that mostly to swing changes. He's a naturally amazing driver of the ball. If you look at his shots gained numbers just 1-2 months ago, he was number 1 or 2 on tour. He was number 2 behind Bryson last year in terms of driving distance. And again, I expect that to come back around. And even if it doesn't, again, he's matched up with Colin Morikawa, who's going to be hitting it very straight, not making very many bogeys, not even making very many pars. Colin Morikawa's the best player in the field, in my opinion. And again, they're my spend-up option, and I'm not going to overthink it. They fit the golf course, and they're 2 of the best players. My second team in, instead of man in, is going to be Victor Hovland and Christopher Ventura, coming in at $9,700. So what I love about them this week, other than that they're fellow countrymen, is that they're number 4 in terms of birdie or better percentage on the week, which is excellent, especially in the $9,000 range. They're also number 4 in terms of shots gained putting, mostly due to Ventura, and number 6 in terms of shots gained off the tee. So the reason why they're not higher in terms of shots gained tee to green with that excellent off the tee mark is Ventura is not very good on approach. The thing that's great is that Victor Hovland is number 3 in the world in terms of shots gained approach. So again, their games are very complementary. Christopher Ventura is a short game. It's a round to green game and his putting. Hovland, if he has any criticism that you can give him at all, it's his short game, specifically his chip game. So those two players really offset each other, which I love this week. And again, while Hovland hasn't put up fireworks over the last few weeks, he's made a few cuts. He hasn't really produced at the level we're used to seeing. Just a few, most of the time he's put up really large numbers. So at the Masters, he had a huge triple bogey. Week before, he put up a quad bogey, if you guys remember, and charged the whole way back to a top 5. This week, he's going to be able to avoid that due to the best ball rolls and the alternate shot rolls. He's not really going to be able to butcher a hole that bad, so I expect him to have a better result. You know, he's been putting himself in good positions, as you can see with the birdie numbers, the approach numbers, and the around the green numbers, which are excellent for him this year, even though it's usually a weakness. I expect him and Ventura to perform very well this week. So that's my second team in this week. My bread and butter play for this week is going to be Doug Gim and Justin Suh, coming in at $8,100. So this duo comes in number 3 in birdie or better percentage this week, which is excellent, especially for an $8,000 option. And then also number 2 in shots gained approach, which is great to see, especially for a cheap option. They also are going to be really popular, but I think that's all right. Everyone knows that they model statistically well. They're a darling of a lot of DFS touts. And for me this week, I'm just going to have to eat the chalk on them. They've been playing so well. Both players have been very consistent of late. Both have been birdie makers, so it's not just one side carrying it. And I expect them to perform really well, especially in a format like this. Again, the weakness for both of them is the putter, but both of them usually overcome that by just producing so many opportunities. And their shots gained putting numbers just don't look as good because they're not sinking every birdie chance they get like some other players do. So I like their chances this week. If both of them are setting up for birdie on every hole, hopefully one of them makes it at least on every hole. So they're going to be my bread and butter play. Again, Gim also I want to mention went nuclear on Sunday at the RBC Heritage. He was at like 9 under at one point for the round, ended up shooting 7 under and playing outstanding at the RBC Heritage, played himself into a top 20. And I like that kind of momentum going into an event like this where you're trying to score a lot of birdies. So that's my bread and butter play. My value play for this event is going to be Matthew Neesmith and Chase Seifert, coming in at $7,500. So what I love about them is that they come in number 4 in shots gained approach, also a top 15 in birdie or better percentage, which is okay for the $7,000 range, and most of all that they complement each other extremely well. So Matthew Neesmith is a top 5 shots gained approach player on tour this year. So most people wouldn't expect that. He's number 1 in greens and regulation percentage, which is also very surprising for a lot of people. But Chase Seifert, that's the one thing that he's really not good at. Chase Seifert is accurate off the tee, he's great around the green, and he's a top 5 putter in this field. And pairing these two together really meshes well. Their off the tee game for both of them has a little bit, to ask for. They're not super long. They both are pretty accurate though. So I expect them to play well in this format. They're only $7,500. They may garner some ownership because they are a really good fit, but they're coming in with good form. I think it's, well respected, well worth it. So I'll be over the field on those two this week, and that's why they are my value play. For my diamond in the rough this week, I'm going way down the board, down to $6,200, with Peter Malnati and Chris Baker, who are two extremely volatile golfers, people that make a ton of birdies. They come top 10 in birdie or better percentage in this field. They don't profile the best for this course, in my opinion. They're all about neutral in terms of shots gained. in this field, but they make a ton of birdies, and for that reason alone, and at a $6,200 price tag, they're definitely worth it. Again, they're very neutral players. They're not really good at anything. They're not really bad at anything, especially when you average out their shots gained statistics. All of them are within zero point 0.1 of neutral, which is kind of nuts. But again, that may be all right this week. If we look at the key stat model and a regression model for the Zurich Classic, this is before it was a team event. No key stats pop out. All the stats are in the 30s or 40s out of 50 on tour. So playing players that are very close to neutral may actually be a strategy this week. So I like Malnati. I like Baker. They're a high risk, high reward player, I'd say. I'm not going to put them in all my lineups by any means, but I think if you get to about 15-20%, you're going to be way, way over the field. And if they end up hitting, you're going to be in a good spot. I think a more reasonable take may be around like 5 to 10%, but I'm going to be over that. They're going to be one of my more aggressive takes this week. And again, they could realistically kind of carry themselves on that best ball. They're such birdie makers that, putting 12, 13 under isn't obtainable. And if they do that, it might not even matter how they play an alternate shot, which is where I think that they may struggle if they do. With that being said, that's all I got for you guys this week. Let me know in the comments who you guys are playing, specifically farther down the board for your value play. I'm always interested to see who people like down the board and whatnot. And let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe if you guys like the video as always, and you want to see more. It really helps me out, and it helps you see more of my content as well. So with that being said, good luck, and see you next time.